Gagan Mohindra.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. It's a real honour to follow my honourable friend from Newbury. Can I firstly start by commending my right honourable friend, the member for Tunbridge Wells, for bringing this bill before this House. It's been a real eye-opener listening to the speeches this morning. We've heard some really powerful arguments across the House on why this is still, unfortunately, still necessary. I will repeat the plea of my right honourable friend, who's no longer in our place, that hopefully this piece of legislation will never have to be used, because I think what I'm hearing from across the House is actually the lived experience needs to be more widely shared. Now, as someone that's an uncle again as of last week to a beautiful little girl who we nicknamed Jingles, while her parents think of a more appropriate and more long-term name, I do want to be able to say to her and my other nieces, and even my sister-in-laws and my parents and all my female friends and family, that actually we are on a journey to making sure that this is all stamped out. As someone that was brought up in the Greater London area, I remember walking the streets of East London and how I was intimidated back then. Fortunately, if I could speak to an equivalent of myself at that age now, I'm pretty sure their life would be a lot easier. But that journey has not been as quick for women in this country. And that is something that actually, as a House, we recognise, and that's part of the reason we're debating this today, but there is very much more that can be done. As someone that spent a bit of time in the Home Office, I know the government is doing a lot on this, and I know my honourable and great friend from Thurrock has spoken about the terminology used about that particular report, and I do hope the front benches have listened to that, that there is something that we need to continue to do, and that is to actually make men a bit more self-aware. My friend from Thurrock spoke about a colleague being a bit self-conscious in the lift, and I think actually that's absolutely the right type of attitude that we want to instil. We need to be conscious that actually, for men especially, walking down the local street or walking back from the tube station home, we don't bat an eyelid about our safety, generally speaking. And yet, when I was at university, and I still remember it shocking me at the time, I spoke to all my university female friends at the time. Each and every one of them had a story about how they felt scared. And I know if I repeated that exercise today, unfortunately, the likelihood is that each and every person will still have that same answer. I know that we've spoken about stats today, and I would argue actually a lot of those stats are probably hiding a lot of the issues. So while 75% of females feel intimidated, I'm pretty sure it's closer to 100, but those 25% don't feel confident enough yet to actually start saying, actually, I may have been a victim of harassment or, unfortunately, other issues. We do need to be more socially aware and culturally aware. As someone that I do think about doing the right things even when no one's watching, I know in other instances, especially probably in my younger days, that actually if I was with a bunch of male friends predominantly, you may have ended up with the herd mentality. And actually we need to nip that in the bud, and I would like to compliment actually London Transport Police, and actually on my commute in recent weeks and months, I've seen advertising hoardings that say actually call out bad behaviour. If you're seeing a potential domestic violence issue on the London Underground, these are the tricks to use about how to intervene in a safe and secure manner. And part of what we need to do today, and I hope to take away after this, is actually further to educate all of us on how to nip this in the bud at an early stage, because unfortunately, we spoke about the pyramid model earlier, I do think that's correct. If we're not nipping out bad behaviour early in someone's trajectory, they could potentially go on to bigger and worse offences that none of us want to see. I'm conscious that I've probably overspoken for what I was intended to do, but Mr. Deputy Speaker, thank you for allowing me to contribute to this debate.
Yeah.